Hey folks, I just wanted to have a video to share with you my experience so far in Senegal. I've been putting some videos out on Facebook and YouTube. I'm sure you've seen them. I've had a few questions, and I thought it might be good to I can't answer all the questions, but I know there's some common things that people wonder about acts, and I just wanted to just kind of answer those. So I arrived here on Wednesday. I left the U.S. on Tuesday evening, but I arrived here on Wednesday, the second. All right, and due to some delays, I actually didn't get here until Wednesday evening. And so Thursday, Friday, and now today, Saturday, is the time that I've experienced so far. So I still have some more days to go. But what I've seen so this is just information based on what I've experienced so far, and it's been nice. I will say, just FYI, I am mainly talking about Dakar, right? So people forget. So Africa is a continent. It's not one country. It's made up of several different countries. That's number one. And then number two, Senegal itself is a large country. So I wrote it down here. So Senegal has about 18 million people. So if you compare that to Florida, the whole of Florida has 23 million, right? Senegal is 76,000 square miles. And Florida is 65,000 square miles, right? So if you compare that, think about Senegal like the size and population around Florida, right? Georgia, for example, has I think they said they have a population of 11, maybe 11.5 million people, and the size of it is 59,000 square miles. So when you're thinking about Senegal, the country of Senegal, is between Georgia and Florida as far as size and as far as population. This is the cat Milo that has been in my room and sometimes keeping me company. And so I just want to give you some perspective there. The other thing is, in Senegal, they speak French. So I'm sure many of you have been to Miami or you've been to different parts of Texas. I lived in Austin, Texas for a while. And so you can get a lot of Spanish speakers, right? And so many times you can speak Spanish and sometimes you might be able to speak English. And you can speak English, no problem. But you can go there and you can be comfortable speaking English because there's still a lot of English speaking people as you would expect. But understand, this is not like, well, people speak some French here. It is the main language. So most people do not speak English. Actually, their native language is something called Wolof. So most of the locals, you're going to hear them speaking Wolof, and they can also speak French with little English. So if you're interested in coming to Senegal, you have to know how to be able to navigate that. Now, with the phone, I have the translator app on there, so I don't have a problem with it. You can do different gestures. I mean, I can get around. I feel comfortable. I feel fine. But I'm just letting you know that is something that is significant. So if you haven't been to a country or you haven't been to a place where the language is not English, you may feel uncomfortable. It does not make me feel uncomfortable at all. What else? The exchange rate. Like 10,000 CFA, it's called CFA. CFA, I'm not sure exactly what it stands for, but 10,000 of those dollars equals to like 16 US dollars. Right? So just the other day, I was at the ATM and I withdrew like, I think it was 70,000, something like, no, $50,000, I think. And, I'm not going to say, because I can't remember exactly how much came out. I think it was $70,000 and it was only 50 US. I'm not sure, but I know for sure that 16 US dollars is $10,000 in SIFA. Now, how does that translate in real world? So when I went to the grocery store, I bought some pistachios and I bought some, like mixed nuts, and both of them were like uh, about $2 each US. Right? I took a taxi, 15 to 20 minutes. Usually that would cost about 20, 30 US dollars. It was 4,000 SIFA, which to me was two, about $2 to $3, right? And so things for me are relatively cheap or reasonable. I have heard that people say that Senegal is a more expensive than other countries, or maybe Dakar is more expensive than other cities. But to me, it just depends. Like, for example, when I visit New York, like I know New York is an expensive place, but there's some shops that I can go to for clothes, or some places I can go to for food, which is relatively cheap. So I just think it depends on where you are. And so for me, getting around as far as transportation, and as far as eating so far, has been fine. I ate at a restaurant, and um, and it came to what was like $20, and it was kind of like a skirt steak and vegetables, included the drink, included the tip, everything. You know what I mean? So that's basically similar to being in the States. So for me, uh, the exchange rate, as far as the expense here, it hasn't been very expensive. Um, I am staying with, I'm not sure if I said this, I'm staying with, uh, at an Airbnb, uh, with Ashley and Quincy. Both Ashley and Quincy are from Cameroon. They live here now. I think Ashley came here maybe about 3 years ago. She's in finance, and um, the space is beautiful. I have my own room with my own bathroom. Everything is clean. Everything is great. The reason I bring that up is that if you are traveling alone, it's good to be at a place where they are people who've been in the city for a while, or who are local to that city. So since I was traveling alone, I was not interested in just going to a hotel. Um, and because I'm into taking in the culture, taking in the people, um, going where locals are, I'm not just looking to be at a hotel. So this worked out. So far, it's been perfect for me. I like it. I like the space. Ashley and Quincy are both cool. On Thursday, they took me to an after work party on a rooftop in one of the in one of the off one of the buildings in the cities here, and it was a really, really good vibe. I'll send out some more of those pictures and videos. So I would say, if you're traveling and if you're traveling alone, it would be good to do an Airbnb where somebody is, where you can get some information from someone who's local. Um, uh, Traffic. Like any city, there's traffic, and in Dakar, there's traffic. The difference here is, yeah, you got your cars, yes, you got your buses, but they have a lot more motorcycles. So either people using motorcycles, or people using motorcycles as taxis, right? Because they transport people on motorcycles as well. So it's a lot of weaving in and out with the motorcycles. And so if you're not used to that, that could be a little bit nerve wracking. I actually rented a car yesterday, and I drove and I felt fine. But again, it depends on your experience. I grew up in Barbados, learned to drive in Barbados with a manual shift. Our roads are smaller. You got to know how to spawn traffic and how to get in and out, move around, potholes and people and all that sort of stuff. So I'm used to that. I've driven in from Mississippi to New York to Texas, I've driven in Bahamas. I've driven in St. Lucia and um, uh, Aruba and Cayman Islands. So I've Costa Rica. I've driven in different places. So I don't feel uncomfortable when it comes to driving. I will say I could see people being uncomfortable driving in Dakar because the roads are not small. It's more like a mix between New York and maybe like a Miami, you know, because Miami got a lot of action when you're driving. New York in Brooklyn, you know, Queens, maybe some parts of Long Island got a lot of action driving, but take that action, right? And the size of the roads. So it's not size of the roads like Florida and Texas where the roads are a lot more bigger. It's more like a New York, maybe more like Miami. And then add in the fact that now you got your buses that are carrying people, and then you have your maxi taxis. For those who are in Barbados, you know those cars that stop anywhere and people can get on. Well, they have the same thing, but people get on from the back instead of the side, right? And you got those, and then you got your motorcycles weaving in and out. So there's a lot going on. So if you are antsy about driving, the car would not be the place to drive. For me, it's been cool, but it wouldn't be a place to drive. As far as safety, I feel pretty safe, just like any other place. I'm not one of those tourists that look to go on the beach at 1 o'clock with some stranger I just met half an hour ago, in a place that I don't really know. So, but as far as walking around, talking to people, saying hi, people have been very responsive. It's harder for people to be as helpful because, again, most people speak um, um, French. So even although they may try to help, it's harder for them because I don't know their language, right? And so, but other than that, it's been helpful. It's it's felt very comfortable, felt very safe walking the street, etc. You'll see police different around at different spots. Sometimes when I see too many police, it gives me a little bit of angst. Like, why do you need to have so many police, right? But in Dakar, it has been a very good balance. They're not like all over, but they're in spots so you can see that there is security and that you can see that there's a police presence. And either they're guiding traffic, or either they might be helping somebody out, or they're just with the other locals walking the street. You know what I mean? And so it's good, and it feels like if people are taking pride in safety and security and so on. So it does not feel like overwhelmed at all, and I like that. It feels like the country takes pride in security and safety, and you can see that with the presence of some police as you go in different places. Oh, one thing is I have observed, and this might be funny. They are a lot of tall people here in Senegal. So I am 6 foot flat. Without shoes, I'm actually 5 foot 11 3/4. With shoes, depending, I'm like 6'1", right? So, and I know a lot of people embellish their height, but I'm 6 foot flat. Usually, I'm one of the taller people, and every now and then you'll in the States there will be a few people who are 6'4", 6'5", and people look at them. But here, on a regular, older people, younger people, middle-aged people, the guys are like 6'3", 6'4", 6'6" on a regular, and I think I noticed it even with the ladies. Like, there are a lot of ladies who are 5'10", 5'11", 6'1" on a regular. And so I'm not saying that there aren't shorter people, obviously, but I was surprised. So if you're used to, let's say, 1 in 10 males being 6'5", here it's like 3 or 4 in 10. If you're used to 1 in 10 ladies being 6'1" or 6 foot, here it's more like 3, 4 in 10. It's that type. It's just more tall people here in Senegal, in Dakar, that I've observed. I am going to do a video on their bus. They have the I guess the state sanctioned their bus. It looks more like a light rail. Where you get on, it almost looks, the stations themselves look like if you were at a train track waiting for the bus. It pulls up and you just step right on. It's really cool. I think it can be described better just through video and through pictures. So I'll do that and I share that with you. Um, like I said before, but you can get around by taxi, you can get around by bus, motorcycle if you want. At some point, I think I'm going to do that. I'm 220 pounds. I don't know if I want to sit on at the back of somebody's moped and be driven around, but I might do that. But being able to get around is like pretty cheap, pretty easy. And they do have an app that's equivalent to Uber. That app is called Yango, Yango, Yango. So if you want to call up somebody to a rideshare service, that would be it, Yango. Which is the other thing. I would say, and I don't have this app, but I want to get it before I leave. There is an app called Wave. It would be the equivalent of Cash App or Zelle. Everybody uses it here. So even the guy who's selling nuts on the street or coconuts, or the person, who's trying to peddle you something, to the bus system, to the restaurants, to high-end restaurants, local, everybody uses this app called Wave, WAVE. And so if you're traveling to Senegal, and I've come to realize that other countries within West Africa use it too, that you should get Wave because it's much easier to do transactions. It's safer, obviously, because you're not carrying cash. It seems that you can link it straight to your account. So I came here with like, I'll have cash, I'll use my credit card, and I can use my credit card for things. But I've realized that if I had Wave, it'd actually be much, much, much easier. So just want to share that with you, that they have their own ability to, send financial transactions digitally through Wave, and everybody uses it. So that would be much more convenient for you. And other than that, that's it for now. I'll share some more videos as I get them. So far, it's been great. Again, my goal for the trip is there's not a particular place or I want to go. My main thing is to interact with people who live there, see what the culture is like, see what the people are like, kind of be on the ground. And so I've been enjoying it so far. And I'm hoping that these videos will also give you a perspective of Senegal, and of one country at least within Africa, so that people can just get an idea of what it means to visit there, to live there, etc. So so far, it reminds me a little bit of Barbados. It reminds me a little bit of places in New York. I wouldn't say Texas or anything like that, but so far it's been good. The weather's been cool. I was surprised. I thought the weather would be mainly in the 80s. The weather has been more in like the low 70s. So there are a lot of people who have on light jackets. It's on. It even dropped down to like 68. I was like, what is going on? So, and that was in the evening. So the weather is cool weather. During the day, it's mainly like 74, 76. So I guess it's just that time of year. But bottom line, I've been enjoying it. So, yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Drop them in the comments, and I will look to respond when I can. I can't promise, but I'll look to provide some responses to any questions that you might have. All right. Take care.